Another year, another COD campaign in the books. For those who didn't know yet, Modern Warfare 2 2022 has a really good campaign, with many calling it one of the best Infinity Ward campaigns that's ever been delivered. But how does it stack up against everything else? There's a lot out there, and there's some really good ones. And which campaigns have stood the test of time the best? What is up, everybody? Chaos here. Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to this video. Today, we are going to do the impossible. We are going to rank every COD campaign from COD 4 all the way up to Modern Warfare 2, from the worst to the absolute best. Now, if you want to take the time to rank them in the comments, I would love to see them and read them. And remember, guys, the Chaos store is attached to the YouTube channel. Check it out. If you're into Funko's action figures, Mortal Kombat figures, anything, you can now check out the Chaos comic store right here underneath the video. Now, we start off with the worst, Black Ops 3. Now, this isn't going to shock anybody. The third Black Ops game had a lot of potential to have a great story. Black Ops 2 left things in a very rough position, and now that Black Ops 3 was shooting us way into the future, it seemed likely we would be seeing the consequences of our actions, right? Wrong. Black Ops 3 is a 99% unrelated story that doesn't make any sense in the context of the Black Ops universe, but also doesn't even really make sense in the context of its own universe. The story's impossible to follow. It is. The first time through, good luck. I mean, gameplay's unique, it has personality traits, but none of them are fully taken advantage of. It makes the gameplay feel kind of tedious despite the abilities and the gear at your disposal. Once you spend a few hours on the wiki and you figure out what the heck the story is trying to say, I guess it's okay. Things get a little interesting, but to 99% of the players, Black Ops 3 was a huge letdown. Train go boom. Then there really wasn't any good reason for it to be called Black Ops at all, and it took another 5 years for us to get a proper follow-up to Black Ops 2. So when it comes to campaigns, Black Ops 3 is easily the worst in the sub-series, and I believe it's the worst in the franchise as a whole. In that last mission where it gets all trippy, don't even get me started. At number 14, Vanguard 2021. Now, I'm not trying to pile on hate on Sledgehammer's doorstep. I'm just not. But if we're being totally honest with one another, which I think we try to do that, the Vanguard campaign really wasn't great. It looked good. It wasn't bad. I'm just not going to sit here and say it was an awful game with no redeeming qualities. I mean, it would comfortably get a C or C plus for me, but that's right where the problem is. It was safe. It was uninteresting. I barely have anything to say about it. Even though Black Ops 3 is the worst game, I have way more opinions on its campaign than Vanguard, because at least it was trying to do something new. Vanguard's is a very safe, very predictable game, and the gameplay wasn't interesting enough to make up for it. The graphics were beautiful. I'll give it that. But yeah. Do me a favor, guys. If you're still with us, be sure to drop a like as you're watching this. At number 13, World at War 2 2017. Now, despite being near the bottom of the list, I want to make it very clear. I think COD World War 2 actually had a pretty decent campaign. I'll give it a C+, or maybe even a B-, depending on my mood in that day. But since the rest of the franchise is what it is, it has to be at number 13. Now, COD World War 2 featured some of the most impressive graphics and cutscenes in the entire franchise. It also featured some of the most generic and unexciting gameplay to date. The community wasn't happy about the abundance of quick-time events and the ridiculous sequences like the massive train explosion that became a meme. But then on the other hand, there was some legitimately fantastic missions in the game. The undercover mission where you infiltrate a regime base. Some of the big battle sequences were really engaging. Overall, COD World War II played it safe, and that does ultimately give it some entertainment value. And like I said, I don't think it's a bad game, but the other COD campaigns were simply better. At number 12, I may get some heat for this, COD Ghost 2013. I actually had to think about whether or not this game deserved to be above COD World War II, but ultimately, it does. Ghost and World War II actually share a lot of the same problems in their campaigns. They both feature very safe level design and gameplay, but with impressive presentation. Ghost had a slightly more engaging story than COD World War II, but that's all partially because of how ridiculous it got at certain points, not to mention the infamous cliffhanger at the end. Ultimately, I don't know if Ghost or COD World War II is the higher quality game, but I will say that Ghost is certainly more memorable, and that's why it slipped right above in the list. At number 11, Advanced Warfare 2014. Here we have a game with a story that absolutely everybody in the COD community forgot about, but it still delivered an experience that almost everybody enjoyed. Advanced Warfare was Sledgehammer's first attempt at a COD campaign, and they actually took a very unique approach to the development. Instead of making a super dramatic story with elaborate twists and turns, they made a simple action movie style story that basically just worked as a way to get you from awesome thing to awesome thing. The end result was a story with no memorable characters aside from Kevin Spacey's character, but a ton of awesome gameplay moments. Everybody remembers the Advanced Warfare campaign solely because of the gameplay. Like the sequence where you grapple around a battlefield, you can throw pilots out of their ships, or the breaching mission where you use the special grenades to see enemies through the walls, take them out like John Wick. Advanced Warfare storytelling was lower tier, but the gameplay was great. Now we get into the top 10. Modern Warfare 3 2011. The conclusion to one of the greatest video game stories ever told. Was it worth the hype? Mostly. It was a bit shorter and less surprising than the previous games, and it was absolutely just balls to the wall with presentation. This campaign did not hold back on the crazy set pieces, the insane shootouts, and the massive explosions. The story, it wrapped up all the loose ends pretty masterfully from the last game, concluded in a very satisfying way. Now, it wasn't as innovative or risk-taking as the two previous Modern Warfare games, but it wrapped everything up with a nice bow. It was fun to play. Number 10 is a pretty respectable spot in the grand scheme of things. At number 9, Modern Warfare 2 2009. Now, following the insane success of COD 4, IW had a tall order on their hands. But someone over at the office, they made a really good decision one day. Make it a Michael Bay movie. Modern Warfare 2 took the blockbuster presentation of the previous game, cranked up the action, dialed it up to 11, explosives, massive set pieces, crazy gunfights, high-speed chases. It had everything. Plus, it had a really engaging story within the story that it was telling. Inside jobs, manipulation, possible world annihilation. It was a great game. It was fun to play over and over again, which is really hard to achieve in a game like Call of Duty sometimes. At number 8, Modern Warfare 2019. I've gone back and forth flip-flopping on this campaign, its overall place in the franchise ranking. Now, I thought it was excellent when it first came out. I also thought it was a tad on the short side. Despite having some of the most incredible visuals and sound design I've ever personally seen in a video game, and I've seen a lot of video games, the story had a few leaks in the logic that made it kind of break down when you think too hard about it. But then again, it's just a video game. All that being said, it was a really good reboot of the series. It grew on me more and more with time. The gameplay is varied, it's fresh, still remains true to the classic COD formula, and the story left a ton of awesome doors for the future to improve upon. I think number 8 overall is a great place, and I know I'm going to get heat for putting the classics below it, but it is what it is. At number 7, Infinite Warfare 2016. This one holds a special place in my heart because I actually got to mocap and pretend to be in the campaign at the IW headquarters. Infinite Warfare was just in the wrong place at the wrong time. Despite being one of the most hated FPS games ever made, I honestly don't think it was that bad. In fact, I think certain aspects of it were legitimately fantastic. IW may have been the most unwanted sci-fi shooter ever, but that didn't stop it from being a great example of one. The tone of the game was like a mix of COD 4 and Battlestar Galactica, and there was some creativity in the level design, especially in the space battle missions. Infinite Warfare had a great story, beautiful visuals, a super underrated soundtrack, and while the gameplay may have not gone as far as certain areas, it was fun. I'm glad that despite their overall negative opinions the community has towards the game, there's at least an understanding that the campaign was excellent, and the end is a tearjerker. If you've never played it, it is. And I met all of these people and characters in this. They put so much time and effort and their heart and soul into that campaign. At number 6, Modern Warfare 2 2022. I'm impressed. Honestly, don't think Infinity Ward... I really didn't think they were going to be able to follow up the 2019 game in a way that felt natural and substantial without just remaking the original Modern Warfare 2, but they proved me wrong in every regard. Not only does Modern Warfare 2 masterfully build upon the last game's story, but it dives even further into the small-scale tension that the previous game touched. The presentation, overall vibe, like it feels like Sicario or something, maybe some crime drama, and I'm 100% here for it. The gameplay may not be as bombastic and over the top as recent COD games, but for a lot of people, that's a positive. I think Modern Warfare 2 was a fantastic campaign. I think it's quickly going to find itself at the top of other people's list as well. Now we reach the top 5 COD campaigns of all time. World at War 2008 at number 5. Treyarch made their mainline COD debut with COD 3. Very safe, very simple, right? And it was only made as a way to give Infinity Ward enough time to make COD 4. Regardless, Treyarch did a good job with the campaign and multiplayer was decent enough, so Activision signed them on for another one. This time around, dark, gritty, violent. Treyarch, they killed it. They did. They came up with what ended up being one of the best World War II shooters ever made. Showed the horrors of war without compromise. Told a compelling story with some of the franchise's most memorable characters and set pieces. The massive battles, they were crazy. They were epic. But the game also knew when to slow things down. It knew when to get tense. Structurally, it was very similar to COD 4. But Treyarch's unique atmosphere, soundtrack, and brutality gave it its own distinct personality. World at War is still the best World War II game in the franchise to me, and I think it's comfortable at number 5. At number 4, Call of Duty 4 2007. This is where the modern Call of Duty formula was born, and while it's gotten more and more advanced every year, the classic still holds up. First game in the series to be set in a modern time period, and it completely overhauled the graphics engine to be more realistic and cinematic. The story was believable and extremely well paced, featured some of the most iconic missions in FPS history, all gillied up, Mile High Club. COD 4 is a masterpiece. It is. It's a masterpiece of a first-person shooter, and the fact that it's only getting number 4, well, here we go. At number 3, Black Ops Cold War 2020. Now, after hearing all the leaks about this game's development cycle, I don't think anybody was expecting its campaign to be this good. In case you somehow missed it, Treyarch was reportedly pulled into the game's development with less than a year on the clock and had to come up with some kind of Black Ops story that would fit into the existing timeline and universe without breaking canon while also tying it into the Modern Warfare universe. Wow. Ridiculously tight deadline. I think most of us in the community were expecting something very simple, very safe and basic, but that's not what we got. What we got was leagues better. It was. I think it's the best campaign to come out in the last decade. Branching storylines, return from Black Ops 2, the narrative tied into the existing arcs, it expanded upon new ideas, gameplay mechanics. Cold War may be a disappointment on the multiplayer side of things. The campaign is top notch, and I honestly feel it's underrated, and I know I'm going to get some heat for putting it so high, but go play it again. At number 2, Black Ops 2 2012. Whenever people talk about the kind of COD campaign they want, they usually end up describing this one. I'm not saying Black Ops 2 is everybody's cup of tea or favorite campaign, but when you just go down to the gameplay skeletons of it, it did solidify what people expect from the series. It did, at least for single-player offerings, branching storylines, custom loadouts, optional side missions, incredibly well-written story that stands on its own, also fleshes out the universe. Yeah. On top of that, Black Ops 2 had some of the best level design in the entire franchise, finally finding a middle ground between super linear level design and something more open and versatile. The game is excellent. If you ask me, there's only one other campaign that beats it out, and it was very close. For me, the best COD campaign of all time is Black Ops, the original, 2010. No matter what, I don't think I'll ever get another COD game that tops it. This is where Treyarch took the gloves off. They went all out. They created a unique story and presentation for their games. Up to this point, they were almost unanimously seen as the secondary COD developer behind Infinity Ward, but after the Black Ops campaign blew everybody away, it changed. Mind-bending story, incredible presentation. I mean, they started gaming a much larger following within the COD community. The gameplay was smooth, the sound design was excellent, the soundtrack was top-notch, and the story is one of the most interesting and engaging that I've ever played. Plus, unlike most of the other games on the list, it acts as a perfect one-and-done game as well. Makes it a fantastic playthrough no matter how much of a COD fan you are. To me, this campaign is unmatched. I don't think that's going to change, but we'll do it again next year and see. Black Ops, the campaign, you could call it an action movie. You could call it an FPS game. You could call it a horror game. I mean, it's just crazy. Super versatile. There you have it. That is my ranking of every COD campaign from worst to best. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you soon.